Hello everyone, welcome back to Data Science Monster. In this video, we will break down key concepts in generative AI like language models, large language models, pre-training and foundation models. And I will show you how these models work using fun examples and scenarios. Let's start small and go big. So the first one you can see like a generative AI, create something, start small, go big. Imagine you are an artist and you want to create a painting from scratch. Or just you want to design your own wedding invitation. Or you want to print your own visiting card. Whatever it is, right? So that is what generative AI does. Instead of painting, it uses data. So generative AI creates new things like text, images, music, and even code. So in case if you write that, okay, create a music, then it will create a music. In case if you just write based upon your imagination, like a girl pulling up the moon with her hair, then immediately it would be creating an image according to the description you have given, right? So, what is meant by generative AI, which is very simple? You can give input and you can get the output in the form of text or audio, or which means like a music, or even in the form of images, right? And the second one, language models. So, what are language models? Guess the next word. Language models, LMs, are like a smart guesses. So, here, if you give a sentence, the cat jumped on the. So now the language model would guess sofa or table because it has learned that these are the common endings for such a sentence. So what the language models does, it will help us to predict the next word in a sentence based upon the words that come before. Simple, right? But this is the core idea behind how these models can write entire essays, poems, or even dialogue. So the next one, large language models, large model, large data. So from the name itself, you can understand large, right? So imagine a language model or but on steroids. So large language model or the models which has been trained with a large volume of data like ChatGPT, GPT-3 and GPT-4, right? So using this in case if you want to create a blog or news articles or if you want to write books also, you can make use of it. So the idea is simple. The more data, the better the model becomes at understanding and generating language. So the next one, pre-training, process to teach world knowledge to LLM. What does that mean? Before AI can generate something cool, it needs to learn about the world. That is where pre-training comes in. Right? So before AI can write a poetry, it reads tons of poetry in its pre-training phase. This way it learns how poets use language, rhythm, as well as themes. You can check with OpenAI or any GPT forums for this. So the pre-training is very important. Think of it like feeding the AI a huge book that contains all kinds of information about language, the world, and how things work. So the last one you can see people talk about foundation models, the backbone of AI. So these are large language models that have been pre-trained on large amount of data and I can fine tune it on specific task. Imagine training a foundation model on medical journals. Now it can help doctors diagnose diseases or write research papers based upon the specialized knowledge. Right? You can think of any of the GPT models. So we encounter generative AI and language models every day, probably without realizing it. Might be with a Siri, Google Assistant, or whenever you write an email, Gmail's text auto completion, or Dolly, Midjourney, Google Bard, all that. Right? That's all. From starting small with the language models that gets the next word to going big with the foundation models, starting with the language models, going with the foundation models that can power entire industries. I hope you found this explanation helpful. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more amazing AI videos. Let's go big together with generative AI. Thank you.